All right, today we're diving into a real masterpiece of praise, Psalm 145. This was written by King David, and trust me, it's not just another song. It's this powerful, beautifully structured poem that really feels like the grand finale to his entire life of faith.
So right out of the gate, David makes this huge personal promise. He commits to praising God every day and forever and ever. I mean, think about that. This isn't just for the good times or on special occasions. It's a vow to live a life of nonstop, unending praise.
And that really begs the question, right? Why would a king, someone with all this power and status, make such an absolute, eternal promise to someone else? Well, the rest of the psalm is basically him laying out his case.
It all starts with perspective. Here you have David, the king of Israel, and the very first thing he does is declare that God is his king. He's acknowledging that there's a higher authority, a true ruler over his own life and his entire kingdom.
And you have to remember the context here. This is the last of David's psalms in the book, so you can just feel the weight of a lifetime behind these words. This isn't some kid writing an idealistic poem. It's the conclusion of a man who's seen it all: war, peace, his own failures, and amazing victories.
So, drawing from that lifetime of experience, David gives us the first big reason for his vow: the sheer, almost mind-boggling greatness of God.
He just comes right out and says it. God's greatness is beyond what our minds can even measure or fully grasp. It's unsearchable. And that's not a problem we're supposed to solve. It's a reality we're supposed to be in awe of. And that feeling of awe, that's really the fuel for this whole psalm.
Now, how do you even begin to describe something so huge? Well, David gets pretty creative with a structure. Psalm 145 is actually an acrostic poem. Each verse starts with the next letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's his literary way of saying, my praise is going to be complete, covering everything from A to Z.
But this praise isn't just a private, personal thing for David. Not at all. He sees it as a legacy, something that absolutely has to be passed on. He says that the story of God's amazing works, it's meant to be celebrated and told by one generation
and then proclaimed to the next. Praise becomes this living story that we share, a testimony that teaches our kids and their kids who God is and the incredible things He's done.
Okay, so next, David makes this really important shift. He moves from praising what God does, all those mighty acts, to praising who God is. The whole focus shifts from action to character.
And this verse, it's really the heart of the whole psalm. What's amazing here is that David is actually quoting God. He's echoing the very words God used to describe himself to Moses way back in the book of Exodus. So David's saying, look, this isn't just my opinion. This is who God himself says he is. And this incredible character isn't for some exclusive club. David is super clear. God's goodness and compassion are for all of creation. It's a universal truth. And because of that, it sparks a universal response. Everything that's been made praises him.
You see, a kingdom that's built on a foundation like that, of grace, love, and compassion, well, that's a kingdom that's built to last forever. Human empires rise and fall, right? But David is saying our real security is found in the fact that God's rule never ends.
All right, now David does something really amazing. He takes this massive, cosmic, eternal idea of God's kingdom, and he brings it right down to our level, to the deeply personal. And in doing so, he reveals this incredible paradox.
So on one hand, you've got this majestic, transcendent king with an eternal kingdom and mighty acts. But on the other hand, this exact same king is intimately involved in our day-to-day lives. He's the one lifting us up when we fall, supporting us when we're bowed down with burdens, and satisfying the needs of every living thing. The all-powerful king is also our most intimate helper.
And this is why it's such a game changer for you and me. It means that praising God doesn't require a perfect life. You can praise Him even when you've fallen or when you feel completely overwhelmed, because the praise isn't based on your changing circumstances. It's based on His unchanging character.
So when you put all that together, God's incredible character and His personal care, it all builds to this final amazing conclusion. David's personal vow is about to become a global invitation.
He paints this picture of a God who isn't distant or aloof. No, he's near. He's accessible to anyone who genuinely calls on him. He listens. He saves. He watches over those who love him. And that promise is the foundation for what comes next.
After laying out this whole incredible case for why he praises God, his greatness, his character, his intimate care, David's personal vow takes one last, expansive turn. His personal declaration, "My mouth will speak," just transforms into this universal call, "Let every creature praise." His personal vow becomes this wide-open invitation for all of creation, for all of us, to join in this same eternal song of praise.
And just like that, the psalm turns the question back to us. David laid out all his reasons, from the unfathomable greatness of the cosmos to the intimate care for the fallen. So the question he leaves us to think about is, what reasons for praise can we find in our own lives today?